Have you ever noticed how your mind always seems to have something to say? Even when you're just sitting quietly, doing nothing in particular, it keeps talking. It judges, compares, plans, worries, criticizes, remembers, imagines. It almost never stops. And the strangest part is that we rarely question it. We've grown so used to this constant mental noise that we don't even realize we're being manipulated by it. We assume that if the thought appeared in our head, it must be true. But that's the biggest lie of all. Your mind is lying to you, and it's been doing it for years, not because it's malicious, not because it wants to hurt you. In fact, it's doing it because it's trying to protect you. Your mind learned very early on how to keep you safe, not happy, not free, not fulfilled, just safe. And to the mind, safe often means staying in the same place, avoiding risk, avoiding discomfort, avoiding anything unfamiliar. So it creates stories, it repeats beliefs, it gives you warnings that sound like wisdom, but are actually fear in disguise. Think about how many opportunities you've turned away from, not because they weren't good for you, but because your mind told you that you weren't ready, that you'd probably fail, or that other people would judge you. Think about the moments when you wanted to speak your truth, but the voice in your head said, "What if they don't understand you?" Or, "What if you sound foolish?" Where did those voices come from? Who told you that you needed to be perfect, or impressive, or invisible? The truth is, much of what your mind tells you is a product of your past, echoes of old experiences, outdated survival strategies, messages from other people that you've mistaken as your own thoughts. And if you never stop to question them, they run your life. Here's what most people never realize. You are not your mind. You are not the thoughts that come and go. You are the one who notices them, the witness, the awareness, that subtle presence behind all the mental noise. And once you begin to see that, you stop being controlled by every anxious thought, every inner critic, every fear-based projection. You stop assuming every story your mind spins is the truth. You start to see it for what it is, a habit, a program, one that's been running on autopilot for far too long. Now, this doesn't mean you have to fight your thoughts or try to silence your mind. That never works. In fact, trying to silence the mind usually just makes it louder. Instead, you begin by observing. You create space. You hear the thought, and instead of reacting, you pause. You breathe. You notice. And in that space, you begin to choose. Let's say your mind says, "You're not capable." Instead of believing it, you can ask, "Is that really true? According to who?" You can trace that thought back to where it came from. Maybe an old failure, maybe a critical parent, maybe a painful moment from childhood. And you realize that voice isn't some eternal truth. It's just an old echo, a piece of the past that's still trying to make decisions in your present. This practice of observing the mind instead of obeying it is the beginning of inner freedom. Because most people are trapped in a prison built from their own thoughts, and they don't even know it. They live small lives not because the world limits them, but because their mind keeps saying, "Don't go there. "Don't do that. It's too dangerous. You're not enough." But the walls of that prison aren't real. They're imaginary. They disappear the moment you stop believing them. And here's the beautiful part. The more you question those thoughts, the quieter they become. Not because you've silenced the mind, but because you're no longer feeding it with attention and belief. The thoughts may still come, but they pass like clouds in the sky. You notice them, but they don't define you. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about replacing negative thoughts with happy ones. This is about stepping out of the whole system, realizing that your value, your truth, your essence, they were never dependent on what your mind says. They were always there, underneath the noise. And from that place, you begin to live differently. You take action not because you're sure it will work, but because it feels true to who you are. You speak honestly, not because you know it will be accepted, but because you're done editing yourself to avoid rejection. You make choices based on presence, not fear. Because fear still exists, but it doesn't rule you anymore. The moment you stop taking your mind so seriously, life softens. You stop trying to control everything. You stop needing constant approval. You stop chasing peace and realize you are peace once you stop fighting your own inner world. So ask yourself right now, what's one thought that's been holding you back lately? What's one lie your mind keeps telling you? Maybe it says you're too late, or that you need to be perfect, or that no one really understands you. Just notice it. Don't judge it. And then gently ask, is that true? Is that thought helping me become who I truly am? Or is it just a leftover story that I'm finally ready to outgrow? This is the real work, not fixing yourself, not becoming someone new, but remembering who you were before you started believing the lies. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not your mind. You are the space it moves through, the awareness that sees clearly, the presence that always knows the truth, even when the thoughts are loud. So let this be your invitation, not to fight your mind, but to stop confusing it with yourself, to watch it with curiosity, to question it with love, and to live with freedom. If this spoke to something deep in you, something quiet, something true, I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to the channel, join the community, or sign up for the newsletter. We're on this journey together, learning to hear the voice beneath the noise, the one that's always been there, patiently waiting for us to listen.